Have you ever tried to, like, speaking of pissing, have you ever tried to, like, run while taking a piss outside?
I've not. I've like, kind of chassé to one side or the other, but it was always a sidestep.
Yeah,
deal.
yeah, of course.
Maybe
like,
maybe a quick sidestep or two, but
you'd be surprised how, like, nature just doesn't want you to be running while you pee. It's almost impossible. I don't know why. You have to be sedentary and piss.
I feel like it's kind of like like a safety feature.
Maybe,
like,
I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like how the amount of force it would take to bite off your finger is barely any more than it would take to bite off the tip of a carrot.
Yeah.
But you'll find
it harder than
infinitely more difficult to bite off the tip of your finger than it is to bite off the tip of a carrot.
What about biting off the tip of somebody else's finger? Is that easier, you think?
I feel like that's probably in between.
Between?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot easier than biting off your own finger, but there's still a much higher psychological barrier to biting off someone's finger than there is eating a food item that is crunchy.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I kind of disagree. I think biting off somebody else's finger would probably be pretty easy. Take
Easier
any situation,
than eating a carrot.
Yeah, take any situation in which you are willing to bite somebody's finger off, right?
It'd be like a combat situation.
Yeah, you're probably not really
it's
like
desperation.
Thinking, yeah, every time. Like it's Mike Tyson biting the ear, like it's a combat situation. So
I don't think I'd do it in a combat sport.
It might be easier. Well, okay, speak for yourself. If I'm fighting Mike Tyson, I'm taking every advantage I can get. If I can bite his finger off, I'm biting his finger.
I'm a rules lawyer when it comes to that kind of stuff.
You're a rules lawyer when it comes to fighting Mike Tyson? You're going to get yourself killed.
When it comes to like sports.
Okay, gladiatorial sport? You're a rules lawyer?
If there's rules, I'm going to follow them. Okay. That's basically it.
They put you in the Coliseum with the gladiators and the lions and shit, and you're like, the lion's breaking the fucking rules, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, hey, the rules don't have to be complicated. They just have to be followed. If I'm in the arena with a lion, the only rule is live or die.
Which is exactly the same as being in the Coliseum with Mike Tyson. It's either you live or die. No, that's not true.
You can just wait 30 years and then pay him, $40 million and walk out just fine.
Yeah, apparently he has Parkinson's, so...
I mean...
you could wait until he gets Parkinson's and he's old and deteriorating and then pay him $40 million and then, let him show his ass.
If I could win every fight in my life by waiting 30 years and paying $40 million, boy, oh boy, would I be in the same position I'm in right now.
Yeah, I was going to say pretty much. Yeah.
Well, one, I'm not even 36 yet, so I don't think I made any lifelong enemies at age 5.
No, but $40 million, you've passed that mark quite a few times. You've done that exponentially a few times.
I pass that every 2 or 3 weeks.
It's kind of surprising, really. You're somehow siphoning all of this money out of the podcast that neither Will nor I are getting, but you've built this into a career for yourself.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is I spend it all on body glitter, so...
For what purpose?
It's crippling. I just like the way it looks.
Oh, you're like a hoarder, but it's like you're an addict.
I use it.
Okay.
I use it like every day.
So you're an addict?
Yes.
Okay.
I smother it all over my body and I clean it off.
Does that have to do with any of your other addictions?
No.
Because you're okay.
No, it's unrelated.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
I'm an alcoholic.
It didn't start.
I'm smoking cigarettes since I was 15, and I got addicted to body glitter at about 26. That's about as bad as Kira's.
No, about 2 or 3 months after we started the podcast, when I found out how to siphon the money backdoor through the bank account, that was. I thought, what am I going to do with this? Repair my house, pay old bills.
Give it to your wife.
Maybe buy something other than garbage liquor for once. And I was like, nope. We're trying something new. And it's just been body glitter ever since.
Okay. Well, good.
Mm-hmm. It's a serious problem. I still haven't dipped into my own budget yet, but compared to the amount of money we make, it...
Okay, yeah, I believe you.
You know any believe what high-end body glitter is like.
High-end body glitter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's by Gucci or something?
Oh, you wish.
This is such a dumb role. Man who's addicted to body glitter. Somehow he's still straight. Anyways, welcome to the AnythingCast.
No one said this was a sex thing.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Eric. And it's totally not the body glitter's totally not a sex thing, Eric.
Yeah. It's totally not do you know any hoarders? I don't know why I for some reason in my head, like the guy who buys a lot of body glitter, that's going to be all over his house.
I don't know anyone past like level 1.
Really?
I know people who hoard a little bit, but
So you know people who do the thing that my wife does with figurines.
No, a little worse than that. Like, there's like piles of junk in the corner and stuff like that.
Is that level 1?
But it's all not like garbage.
What's level 2?
Level 2 is when you start introducing the garbage, usually an organic element. Like, and then level 3 is where like, there's stuff piled around and there's like a obvious
like you can't see the floor or something.
Yeah, and then like level 4 is like riddled with parasites. Like there's like more stuff than there is
Kira's
house.
family is definitely like a level 2 situation then.
Yeah, like
her dad, her stepfather, her dad's dead, but her stepfather has like a shed, like a shack.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a shack really. It's a fucking it's a warehouse, damn near. It's one of those garages, those big ass garages that people in Mississippi buy to like just put all their shit in.
Yeah.
And he's just got that thing stacked to the ceiling with like thin paths between all the shit.
My grandpa in Illinois had one much like that.
Why is that such a common thing here in Mississippi?
I don't know, because my dad's side of the family up in Illinois is very Mississippi-esque.
Yeah.
That's why he blended in here super quick.
What is Mississippi-esque? Poor and white trash?
I mean, kinda, a little bit, I guess.
That is Mississippi-esque for sure.
Well, when my dad's side of the family immigrated in like the late 1800s, it was all factory, and then once they made enough money to be like safe, it was like buy farmland. So it was all farmers and factory workers, and then everyone in their transitionary period and before and after did military service. So
you had a lot of trannies in the military in your family?
Not that I'm aware of.
You said they're transitionary periods.
Remind me about that later, though, because I was thinking about in the car ride here concerning trans stuff. And
you were thinking about transitioning and joining the military?
No, I was listening to the song Twisted Transistor. And I was like, is this a pro-trans song?
They're twisted, so they're wild and wacky like
but
the
the
Joker.
Lyrics are really suggesting, hey, you're different, people treat you different, but you're cool with the music and us.
Okay. What song? Who made this song?
Twisted Transistor?
I have no idea. Is this like Thin
Twisted
Lizzy?
Trans Sister?
Is
what it sounds like, and
it's like a kink situation, Lola.
I'm actually legitimately not sure, but I can in fact pull it up because I can pull up the lyrics.
I remember talking to...
and this particular one was Korn.
Oh, Korn. Okay. I have a hard time for some reason thinking that Korn is pro-trans.
Hey you, devil's little sister, listening to your twisted transistor. Hold it between your legs, turn it up. The wind is coming through, can't get enough. A lonely life where no one understands you, but don't give up because the music do. Music do, because the music do, and then it's reaching inside you. Sounds like he's being, supportive there, doesn't it?
No,
like
to
he's
me
saying
it
you're having
like
a hard time and you're isolated.
And you're like
different.
taking your dick and you're moving it up and down and you're blowing
and he's saying
wind
that's
out of your ass.
Because that's okay here with us.
Yeah,
you're allowed to
You're
have
twisting your
dick out.
scrotum and penis until it rips off and becomes a vagina while blowing air out of your ass because of something about blowing out behind you or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, that the world ain't fair, eat you if you let it, and as your tears fall on your breasts, your dress, vibrations coming through, you're in a mess, a lonely life where no one understands you. Then it starts doing the thing again, yeah.
Okay, that's just like, that's just about like eating pussy.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah, that's just
Trans
about like
people can eat pussy.
No, it's like you get a pussy and then somebody's eating your pussy, but they don't understand because it doesn't taste like any other pussy they've ever had. So you're still alone in the world because nobody really like sees you as a woman. Like you think that like there's some guys out there who are eating pussy and then they get to a trans woman, they eat that pussy, they're like, tastes different, something's not right here. They can't figure it out.
The flavor difference is.
Yeah, they can't figure it out.
It kind of depends on how many women you've eaten the pussies of, because I've only eaten like 3 and they all tasted different. So if I came across a 4th and it, happened to be a post-op, I would just assume it's another taste of pussy.
Really? I'm trying to think
I mean,
I've...
unless it was just incredibly, drastically different.
Every woman I've tasted the pussy of is like the same. I'm not with you on that. I'm like, pussy tastes like pussy. You know, like it's got a pH balance and like an acidity to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like something about it where I'm like, yeah, it all tastes. The people who
the smell
don't
can be weaker or stronger, but yes, it is usually the same smell.
You ever eaten out a woman who had a yeast infection?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, me too. And that's like the one taste that comes back to me. That's like the traumatizing. That's like the strongest
it gets.
Yeah. That's where I'm like, okay, something ain't right. You know, I pulled my dick out and it was white, and I was like, all right, you didn't come, and I didn't come. So what's going on here?
That makes a lot of sense now, thinking back at it.
You've had that situation?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She didn't have great hygiene down there. Now I can look back on it and say, yeah, okay.
Yeah? Was this during high school or?
High school. Didn't get laid till I was 19. What are you talking about?
Okay.
High school.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, the girl that I dated in high school wasn't exactly hygienic.
Did that rubber lizard I was fucking get a yeast infection? No, I don't think so. It smelled, but not like yeast.
Yeah, well. Do you know what happened to that thing?
I think it got tossed eventually.
Okay, good.
We discussed this.
Okay, good.
Way earlier podcast.
That's like, that's like the fish pillow that I fucked. I'm pretty sure that got tossed eventually. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Why did they design a fish pillow where if you tore the tag off, the hole was specifically perfectly dick size?
Don't think that was the intention.
It definitely was. It had to be. That somebody was thinking about that in the factory, and they were like, I mean, like, there's no way you're making a fish pillow and it doesn't occur to anyone during development somebody's gonna fuck this fish pillow, because you make anything else body pillow sized and people are gonna fuck it. That's all I'm saying. Like,
now you had this fish pillow when
I was like 6 to 8 to 10 or something.
Okay, so this would have been the 90s, yes?
Yeah. No, this was early 2000s, late 90s?
Early 2000s, late 90s. This was before people knew how bad it really was.
Yeah, they were out there. Rule making
34
body pillows.
Wasn't a concept yet. Like, they didn't... People knew people were gross, but they assumed that was the outliers.
Yes,
most
of course.
People hadn't... We've discovered that the median that we thought existed is actually further to the furthest edge.
You're right. At the time,
gay
people were the bad guy in Silence of the Lambs. You know, that was...
Yeah, the idea of, like, fucking and sucking with your same sex was the grossest they thought sex could get. They didn't know.
Which is so weird. Like surely...
I mean, some people knew.
Yeah. Imagine the guy eating ass in the 90s, and he's like... Oh,
sure, buddy.
What is this? You know, like, he's watching Silence of the Lambs and laughing because he's done way more heinous shit than, now that I think about it, then I believe what I'm referring to is way more heinous shit than wear the skin of women you've killed. So, maybe that's not the greatest optics for the homosexual community.
It's kind of one of those things where it's just like, I don't think the problem's that he was gay.
No, well,
I mean, I feel like much like the
clown from It.
Millions of people have played Grand Theft Auto and not murdered their friends. I think millions of men have fucked men and not skinned 40 women.
Yeah.
The problem, a relatively rare problem in the community.
It was not that he was a clown, but that's what attached everybody to it and made them scared of it. The problem in Silence of the Lambs was that he was gay, and that's what they attached to and they got scared of. That's what we need in modern day. We need ourselves a new thing to be scary. Like, that's not just...
I think the current administration is doing a decent job of that. I mean,
now it's just
if you're
rich
intelligent
white guy
enough to understand that that's what's going on, it kind of ruins it for you.
No one is. We need a new, like, Silence of the Lambs, you got to
Buffalo
Bill. You know, Buffalo Bill
situation.
Remember,
we're only getting out the criminals.
We need, you know what? Now that I think about it, maybe Hispanics are the new scary thing. Maybe just being Hispanic is scary. Before that, it was definitely black people. Like, BET culture was on the rise, and gang members, gangbangers, and
I've known a lot of Mexicans, first generation and otherwise. I've got Mexicans in my family. Spanish is the only language I have any grasp on other than English. And I've been to Mexico, and having been raised mostly in Mississippi, I thought,
I'm sorry, did you say you have Hispanic people in your family?
Yes, of course I do.
gross.
I mean, they're like below, not above me in the family tree, so I'm not like blood.
That's not where I thought you were going. They're just gonna be like, they're below me, not above me as far as like as people, but they are in my family technically.
I'm blood related to people who are Hispanic.
What do they fucking look like? Are they like 9 feet tall and
they
still
look
have
like a cross between like
the Aryan Giga Chad
Hispanic people?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to imagine that in my head. I'm like,
they're slightly lighter skinned and taller.
Lighter skinned? They'd be brown skinned. They'd be dark skinned.
They're lighter skinned than normal Mexicans because they crossbred with Swedes.
Okay. Yeah, but like the Swedish Mexican guy is just like a sleepy Aryan. That's what I get in my head when I'm trying to put that together.
I mean,
it's like
I guess if they're tired.
A guy drinking tequila. He's got a sombrero. He's massive and beautiful.
I mean, I've seen them both as tiny kids and as like adults, and they look.
One of them hotter than the other?
Like generic human beings. I don't know. Like. They look normal.
They look hotter as children or adults?
I guess adults, but they're also, I think, both still
You're
under
never
18,
gonna make it into
but I don't think that's
You're never going to make it. You're never going to get in the upper echelons of society thinking like that.
I'll never make it on the Minecraft sphere, I guess, but...
Or politics, or being an actor. Honestly, anything. Really, the first step to getting anywhere in life. Yeah, the first step to getting anywhere in life is becoming a pedophile.
Yeah, the P in power stands for pedophile.
What are the other letters?
All sorts of shit.
Oh, okay.
But the only important one is the P.
Yeah, the R stands for retards. P's for pedophile. W is for women. Yeah, I don't know. We could probably
just the word women.
Yeah, we could probably it's all things that they are.
So what does that mean for Oprah?
She's the O. Yeah, she's the O. Yeah, she's so powerful. She takes up both the O and the W.
Oprah. Women, employment. What'd you say the R stood for?
Retards.
Retards. Yeah, there you go.
Employment. Employment. Yeah, that's definitely up there in like the
one of the most biggest things in power, man, is employment.
Yeah, I was thinking
it's
like
the biggest power grab.
I was trying to think out the E. I was like maybe ethics.
It's
like
right in between women and retards.
That's the thing that they as separate entities
the bridge between the two.
They'll never grab it. It's still between them.
Yes, exactly.
It's the dividing factor.
It's the whole thing. Yeah.
You've got pedophiles, Oprah, women, and retards, but the employment is a separate entity. The women and the retards, they'll never get it. They can't have it. Oprah doesn't need it. Pedophiles.
See, there's the pedophiles that run the world, and then there's also Oprah who runs the world. And then there's like women,
yes,
who like don't really have any power, but are technically above all the men who actually are employed and make all the decisions in normal life.
Yeah.
And then beneath them, there's retards. And, the difference is neither women nor retards are employed nor productive members of society.
I didn't realize that it was going in order.
Yes,
of course. I was imagining going, in sequence, not actually in order of importance. But now that I think about it, yeah, you're right. It's
a descending scale, yes.
It is. The women do have just everything over the employed and the retarded. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. And Oprah is surely
they do because
every
women
other
get
woman.
to like stay home and not be employed, and like they reap the benefits of employment without being employed, but they don't have the power of employment. So normal working class men do all of the employment things.
Yes.
And then everyone else is just retarded.
Goddamn, retarded pedophile women must really have it in the bag. They've got everything they need. They've got that's a power to really try
it's a big mix there.
That's a power to rival Oprah herself.
That's why Oprah starts with an O, man. There's only one.
I understand.
Zero competition.
She has all the other women with the O's at the beginning of their name killed at birth. You just don't try. Don't even try.
When was the last time you met a woman with a name that started with an O?
You're right. Now that I think about it,
name 3 women whose names start with O. Other than Oprah.
I can't name one.
Mm-hmm.
My brain goes to Ophelia, and I'm like, I've never met an Ophelia.
Now name 2 women billionaires other than Oprah.
Hillary Clinton and...
Nope, not even close.
Ooh, is she not? Really?
No.
She had a guy killed in prison and she's not even a billionaire?
No,
Big
she's
sad.
got that political stuff, but less money.
Oh,
she's
is that better or worse?
It just depends. I mean, if you were to somehow liquidate all of her political assets, which isn't really possible, but let's say you were to like take the value out of all the different blackmail, political favors, and like, party connections and the like, she might be a billionaire if you could somehow liquidate that into money, but
you
I don't think
everything.
she has the money.
The amount of money you would need to get people to do things on a level that she does.
Whereas like someone like Musk has like the liquid assets to make that happen. At any point, he could turn some investment into a liquid asset.
Does Bill have more political power than Hillary does at this point? Or is he just completely lost all political power?
I don't know. I feel like the Clintons have been on a downswing for years. I feel like Hillary tried to pull it back, but then after losing to Trump and after the Democratic Party stopped trying to like push them back up, they gave up on them basically. Yeah. Once the Democratic Party gave up on them and they just became a fucking target for, anyone on the right for anything like that.
Yeah. You can just say it's the Clintons.
And
most of the time you'll be right.
Yeah, and in all fairness, like they're not good people.
Bill is a fine gentleman. His wife seems to be pure evil, but he seems to just want to play saxophone and listen to his records.
There's some suspicious corpses on some train tracks out there that might disagree with you on
the
that. The
man got a blowjob in office, and you want to vilify him. I understand.
Don't see what it has to do with those dead kids.
That's the worst thing he's ever done.
I'm sure.
Worst thing he's ever done.
I'm sure. He was also president during wartime, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Very briefly, technically.
What war? That's not Korea. It's not Vietnam.
Well, I remember the Operation Desert Storm.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that
was
might
a very short war.
That might be Bill. That was like a 9-month stint?
Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah, something like that. We went over there, fucked them up, got their oil, and came right back home.
It was like the one time NATO did what it was supposed to do.
Is really?
Or not NATO, but the
Holy Roman Empire?
Oh. The UN did what it was supposed to do for the first time ever. Like,
tell the United States
obviously,
no?
it was more complicated than that, but basically, Iraq invaded a country that was under the UN thing, and then like within a short period of time, like 14 armies showed up.
Oh yeah,
headed by the United States.
Ooh, okay,
and,
cool.
We basically launched an all-out offensive that had them surrender in 24 hours.
Cool. Okay.
Like
who were we fighting?
Iraq.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't really much of a fight at all. It was basically the teacher showed up and beat the shit out of the kid in the sandbox.
So you know how most of like the Iraq war that we remember from the later 2000s.
Speak for yourself. I don't remember shit. I did a lot of drugs.
Well, okay, so the Iraq war in the later 2000s was all fucking insurgents and shit, and like there were barely ever any like pitched battles.
Sure.
Other than like Fallujah, which we talked about last time.
Which I know nothing about.
It was a pitched battle.
Okay.
Over the city. You'll never guess the name.
Okay.
It's Fallujah.
Okay.
Anyway, so
good enough for me.
Right. So the reason that kind of happened that way is because Desert Storm and Desert Fox or whatever basically had us we took all of our armor and aircrafts and like cruise missiles and expensive ships, and with support from like, as I said, like 7 to 15 other countries, like with military support, we basically shot all of the big guns and proceeded to destroy their relatively decent army at the time. Every single expensive tank. They had like MiGs and nice Russian fighters and stuff, and like we destroyed those on the runways.
Yeah,
like they never.
It's typically the way that America does warfare. We destroy the planes before anything gets in the sky. Yeah,
like all of the expensive, nice shit that they had was destroyed in like 24 hours.
Makes sense.
And that's why later, because obviously they then proceeded to get sanctioned out the ass right afterwards.
I guess that's why wars now are more based around information. Because if you just know where those planes are, you can just be like, yeah, just blow up their planes.
Right.
Then they have no way of like reacting, basically. What are they going to do? Join NATO?
Yeah, it's complicated.
No one would let Iraq into NATO. It's never going to happen.
Because depending on what you're trying to do, like, we can just level shit like no problem, and I'm not talking about no nukes. We can easily just destroy
just cruise
buildings
missiles in general,
all sorts of shit.
Yeah. Do you see we have a laser now?
We've had lasers for like decades.
No, we got
dude.
like a usable laser now that we could just put on a boat and use repeatedly. It's not it's not one of those rail guns that melts itself immediately or anything. No, it's just a laser.
We've had anti-missile defense lasers for forever.
Nah, man, this is like anti-artillery lasers. It's not for missiles. This is way bigger. You could just destroy a ship with it. Like, you could shoot a missile with, like, a tiny laser or whatever and then melt it and make it explode, whatever. This looks like Goku standing on the front of the boat using Kamehameha out the front of the boat. It's pretty fucking cool. Also, not probably a very good, useful weapon, but looks cool. Looks really cool.
Yeah, it sounds like a waste of resources to a certain degree. Yes. I mean, like...
Sometimes you look at that kind of stuff and you're like, wow, that's cool looking, but holy shit, how much money did that cost?
Yeah, I think the really expensive computer automated defense turrets that have little, like, skinny lasers that just, like, carve little holes in, like, incoming missiles.
Yeah.
Those are, like, smart and scary.
Yes.
And,
yeah. That's a good thing to happen.
Like... Now I can't shoot big guided missiles at like the enemy ships because they have anti-missile laser defense grids.
To be fair,
which is fucking badass. It's like a force
ship
field.
Did have Goku standing on the front of it using Kamehameha,
it would be intimidating.
Yeah, nobody would fuck with that shit. Nobody would fuck with it. Because what if he uses Kaioken?
It's like
what if he goes Super Saiyan?
If you could get any kind of awesome fantasy weapon in here, like let's be honest.
Frostmourne from WoW, the Lich King's sword.
A fucking Custodes.
Yeah, there you go.
Just one Custodes.
One Custodes on one ship. Yeah, you could take the South China Sea with that guy.
Like, let's just not fuck around. This like 9 foot tall humanoid thing. It's a human. By 40K standards.
Yeah, technically. Some heavily modified guy. Do you see that, the Elon Musk doing the fucking Heil Hitler salute thing that we talked about?
Oh, yeah, no one's ever talked about that before or since. Yeah, that was the first time I had heard of that.
Yeah, well, did you see Steve Bannon actually just straight up did one today?
I think I scrolled through something on YouTube that had a picture of a tubbier white man doing the same thing. Is that the Steve Bannon guy?
Yeah, that's him. He was like one of Trump's cabinet members, but like this time I have no defense. Like I was on the train for like Elon Musk didn't do a Sig Heil. Steve Bannon straight up did a Sig Heil. And I was like, holy shit.
I kind of was on that side too, just because it was kind of one of those things where it's just like,
in context, it makes sense.
Not.
Yeah,
like,
also in context, it makes sense to what he's saying.
Wouldn't.
Steve Bannon, it has nothing to do with the context of what he said. Nothing. He just like says basically that we're gonna fight, kill them all, take them out, do it, and then straight up does a Sig Heil, and then the crowd fucking cheers. And I was like, oh fuck me. I've got no explanation.
I mean, it feels cliched to just play the line from like episode 3 Star Wars where Padme is just like, so this is the way democracy falls.
Yes, exactly.
Like, with roaring applause.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yes, actually.
I mean, it feels cliched to do that because I don't want to like fall down like the liberal cry wagon.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just like...
Is that the liberal cry wagon where we get upset for people doing a Nazi salute? I don't know if that's the liberal cry wagon.
No.
That might be
It's where you call everything the opposition does the end of democracy.
Sure.
Like, you know, like, this really is it this time. Like, I feel like saying that...
Surely it has to happen sometime, though.
I mean, yeah, the world has to end eventually, but I don't believe anyone who says it's going to end.
Sure. Did you see that that asteroid that was going to hit us went up to 3.8% chance to hit us, and then it shot down to 0.28?
Yes, I actually saw something briefly that explained that, where it's just
me too.
like, as the asteroid gets closer, its projected cone of like possible way it's going to go is going to enter us. We're going to be in it for a minute. And then the closer it gets, that cone is going to get shorter and shorter.
Yes.
And as we're still in it, as the cone gets shorter, our percentage of being hit goes up until the very second the edge of that cone goes past us. And then it goes from like, it's like, 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 0.
Yep.
Like immediately to 0.
Yes.
Like, no, like, because once it's past that point, it's just done.
That's one of those things that I kind of wished was going to happen, though. Like, I don't want to, I mean, like, you know.
It wouldn't end the world. Like, it wasn't a world.
Damn it,
it just would have been a horrific natural disaster. It wouldn't have changed anything.
Well, maybe it would have killed,
made the world better. It would have just hurt a lot of people.
Maybe it would have killed some white people, Eric. It would have made the world better. It might have killed. I
wish the world was so simple that we could just kill all the white people and it would be great then.
Well, Hitler tried it, but with like a different kind of guy. I mean, maybe if we just tweak the formula. If we just tweak the formula a little bit, it'll probably work out this time. I mean, he had it going well for a while.
Let's just kill all the bad people this time.
And we have to make sure we don't run out of gas. That's a big one. Yeah. Honestly, if we just redo what Hitler did, but just try to learn from his mistakes, I think we can really make it out this time.
I mean, if by that you mean govern properly, then yeah, I guess.
No, that is not what I mean. That is not what I mean at all. No, I mean, like, you know,
it's kind of one of those things where, like,
I was just trying to softball pitch you kill the Jews again.
But, it's another one of those things that, like, always annoys me when people constantly relate everything back to Hitler.
Oh, God forbid something annoy you.
Because we know so much about Hitler and all the different methods he took. At some point, does brushing your teeth make you like Hitler because he brushed his teeth?
Always the best defense is, okay, but if Satan existed, he should have won. Like, right? Like, if Hitler losing is basically proof that God doesn't exist. If Satan exists, God exists, right?
Right.
And if Satan existed, Hitler would have won because that dude was doing everything to get into his back pocket. Like, he had like a whole army of guys trying to like summon demons and like get them to kill the Jews for him, you know, make magic happen. And truly, if there's any proof that magic doesn't exist, religion isn't real, and we all just die and then go into the dirt and then nothingness, it's that Hitler didn't win World War II.
You know, my wife is bothered by both the Holocaust and the idea of us just going to sleep forever and never getting back up when we die. And
your wife is bothered by both those things? What a strange woman. I find those thoughts comforting, obviously.
The Holocaust? You find the Holocaust comforting?
Well, I mean, in certain ways, yeah. In certain aspects. I mean,
Please,
think about it.
Do explain.
Think about it. You had like you had a thing to get up and do in the day. Occasionally,
from the perspective
you were promised a shower at some point. That was something to look forward to.
Yeah, you get the one.
You get to hang out with all your friends. You're all in one tiny little area. It's like going to camp. The very specific
often
kind
described
of
as a camp.
Yeah, a very specific kind of camp. You get to ride on a train. There's plenty of things to, you know, like I've never ridden on a train.
I think you only get to ride the train once, and you only get to ride on it for as long as you were far away from the camp you were going to.
Well, that's how it works when I go on vacation. See?
But you get back on the train.
I'm not getting back on the train. Hell no. Hell no. I'm not taking a train back home. What are you, crazy? I'm flying back home. The train was just for the experience.
Well, I mean, if you count the ashes in the air,
that's
I guess
what I was
going to
say.
Home.
See, you're flying back home. That's flying back to God, is what it is, who doesn't exist because Hitler lost. See where I'm going with this? Everything comes back to Hitler winning or losing. It's the Hitler theorem. I've been working on it. I've got a paper in the works.
Yeah.
This isn't even like a joke that works.
It's all fucking Hitler. Everything is Hitler.
What about your wife being worried about the Holocaust and dying and shit and whatever?
Well, just with everything,
what about your fucking pussy of a wife, scared of the Holocaust and dying? What about her? What were you saying about her?
What unreasonable fears? No human being has ever had these fears before.
No. It
is entirely irrational.
She's a fucking snowflake. She's a goddamn snowflake. Worried about the Holocaust and dying.
Yeah, somewhere between like being a female who can't reproduce anymore and being on that side of things, and just
if she was a man, we'd call her a coward. We'd push her face into the mud. We'd put her on the front lines of the war, slap a gun to her chest, and say, "Get out there, soldier. You're going over the trench."
Is that what we do?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. We got to weed out the weak.
Send them to the front lines.
Yeah, they got to weed them out, dude. We got to make sure that only the Aryans survive.
The few, the proud. Okay.
Accelerate your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's not even a joke that works.
Which part?
None of it. None of it works. It's not really a joke that works at all.
I should keep insulting the American military.
And your wife.
They love that
you know,
shit.
The show is just I insult everything around me and talk about how everything sucks. And then you stay grounded somehow.
Remember, you're the chaos goblin.
Yeah, I'm constantly strapping hot air balloons to you. You somehow stay grounded.
Mm-hmm.
You've made your feet
Mind
into
you, the
cinder
hot
blocks.
air is in fact methane supplied directly from Patrick.
Yeah. What about your wife, dude? What's she scared of? What gay ass shit is she scared about? Talk about it.
I mean, how specific do I need to be?
I don't know. You were like bringing it up like you had like a thing to say.
She's
like
just
she's scared of
religious
the
about it, and it's just
she's religious about it.
like, you know, and it's been a long time, and you know that's something she worries about sometimes. You know, well, what if it is all buck and it just goes black? Is there any point to everything? And I don't have that problem.
Yeah, it's because you get drunk.
I mean, that's definitely a coping mechanism I have,
absolutely.
but I don't think it's for that specifically.
I gotta say, she should really look into becoming an alcoholic. That's pretty much how I solved that problem, was doing a lot of drugs.
I've just never been scared of hell, and I've never been scared of nothing. I guess like the idea of just ceasing to exist, if that's just how things go, then like who cares?
I'm not
sure
scared
won't.
of hell, really, because hell seems cruel. And I don't think that God, if they exist, is cruel.
Yeah, and if he is, or
And
if
if
it
he
is,
is-
then it never mattered.
Yeah, then if he is, then it never mattered in the first place.
Right. You were never going to get there.
Yeah,
You're not
definitely.
that guy.
No, I'm
You
absolutely.
know.
I was never going to be a zealot who would like sell out so that he could. Like I do that in real life to like the
You
Nazis or
wouldn't drag
something.
your
But
firstborn
God, no.
son to the top of a mountain.
And like try to kill him.
Yeah, only to get called off at the last minute. Yeah.
I mean, like if he was like my wife had obviously slept with another man, she gives birth, and then he's like obviously the wrong skin tone, then yeah, I could see me dragging his ass up to the mountain and then like pulling out my sword and being like, yeah, all right, here we go. I'm getting rid of him for you.
Thank God I'm white.
Yeah.
I mean,
Abraham thinking to himself as he goes up the mountain, wow, thank God I'm Jewish. I have this God guy to tell me what to do. Yeah, being not Jewish at the time must have really sucked. People kind of fell into that real hard. It is the
I hear it
Abrahamic
wasn't
religion.
the most popular religion because of
Well,
the whole.
it obviously was for a long time. They had God on their side.
And yet they all were just in Jerusalem.
They also got, they get the land of milk and honey, dude.
Like Zoroastrianism was actually way more popular.
You think so? What do they have? They have God.
They have gods.
They got gods. They got
I
devil.
think so. I
they
mean,
got like Satan. They got
They've
big.
got
the big.
like Ahura Mazda and like
Oh yeah, Ahura Mazda's the bad one.
I don't remember which one's which.
No,
but
Ahura Mazda's the bad one.
there's basically a sun god and a night god, and night god bad, sun god good, and they worship fire.
Yeah, I know that from anime, pretty much. Hell yeah.
You do?
Yes, I do. I know that from the Fate series, where you summon mystical beings and like famous people from history and mythology
And they
to fight
went
for
with
you.
a famous Zoroastrian?
Yeah, so like during the
Was
third.
it Zoroaster?
No, it wasn't. During the
That's funny,
third
that's the
Holy
only one
Grail
I can
War,
think of. But
during the third Holy Grail War, the Einsburn family summoned Agramanyu, which was the evil god. And summoning gods was against the rules because they're obviously way too powerful. They're going to do a lot of damage, right? It's like, don't summon God. At
Okay.
the most, you can get Gilgamesh. He's 1/3 god. People summon him all the time. But like, God's bad idea, right? You're just going to do way too much damage.
so like
So they-
pre-Olympus Hercules and Gilgamesh and the
Yeah,
like.
they
but no,
Hercules, Gilgamesh, they all people that actively get summoned very regularly.
Sure, okay.
Agramanyu, Ahura Mazda was the good one. You're right. Ahura Mazda was the good one. Agramanyu's the bad one. So they summon Agramanyu, being like, he's like Satan, dude. He's like super Satan. He's the oldest Satan we got. He's obviously going to be super powerful. And then it turns out he's like super weak. He's just this like this like old. This guy that lived a long, long time ago that was a kid. And then when Zoroastrianism was really big, they had this idea that they would inscribe all of the evils of the world onto one person and then like forcibly tattoo him with like all the bad things and then lock him in like a fucking crypt. And
so
then
he's
wait
more
till
like
he
a
dies.
heat sink for evil.
Yeah. So he's just like this really shitty, not powerful at all guy with like a sword. He's actually got daggers, I guess. And the dude's got nothing but like a sash. He's just like some old tribal kid.
I feel like this is going somewhere, though. Obviously, it's gonna...
Oh, like you mean like how does it blow up in their face?
Yeah, because clearly this is like... Yeah, but...
Yeah, the Holy Grail War thing is the idea is that you like fight and then all 7 of you fight and then the one who's like alive at the end gets a wish from the Grail. So that was true for like the first one. And then the second one, nobody got it or something. I don't remember. And then the third one, they summoned Agramenu, and then Agramenu dies, and then he goes into the Grail, which happens because the Grail summons these people in the first place. So he goes back into the Grail. He's like, this sucks. I hated this. All of this was like, my life has been suffering, and then you summoned me back to suffer some more. So he corrupts the Grail. And then that's why the Grail is super shitty for the 4th, 5th Grail Wars going forward.
Okay, yeah. See, I figured that there was like, okay, yeah, he doesn't fight good.
No.
But
he makes the Grail into a monkey paw.
Yeah, I was about to say there's going to be some sort of overarching consequence for, summoning the oldest evil heat sink.
You've never watched
existence.
the Fate series?
I
really
don't
like
think
it.
so. I know that I've seen some clips in the shorts thing that keep talking about some anime where like
most of them suck, dude. There's like 30
go
of them.
against gods. Like
I mean, like not really.
It's I think it's something else. Mythical humans are like pitted up against the various pantheons of gods.
I mean, you've seen like the Gigic joke video of like explaining fate. And then there's
I think I have.
Really? Okay. It's like a 7-minute video where it's just like a crash course joke video about like all the 50 different fate properties.
Okay.
There's like 3 of them that are good. And there's like so much shit out there for that series. It's a series where at some point you have really cool stuff like the Agramenu stuff. And then you also have at some point, FDR gets summoned, but he's a lion from space, and he has like an American flag jumpsuit and a cape, and he's basically Superman with a white lion's head. I mean, like, there's really shitty stuff in there too.
It almost sounds hilarious.
A lot of it is like played for jokes. It was originally a porn book. It was a visual novel. It was a porn visual novel.
Okay.
So like, and then like everything jump started off of that. We should really watch Fate Zero together. You'd really like that one.
Yeah, the thing I saw, it was, famous human characters versus like various gods. Adam from the Bible was fighting someone.
Yes.
And he was naked, which was funny.
Did he have any superpowers?
He was really strong.
Okay, well, that's good. He's like the proto-man.
Very durable.
Yeah, he's the proto-man, so it makes sense.
Golden man, I guess. But, and then there was another thing where, there was a bit of like a gray line where Buddha chose to fight on humanity's side instead of the side of the various gods, which is kind of like, yeah, I guess he's
kind of a guy.
He's
He's kind of a guy.
You're kind of a guy and kind of a god. You're neither
he's like
nor.
a dude who reached nirvana. If anything, he's the best guy we got. He's up there with Jesus. They live in an apartment together in that anime. That's how I know both of them. Yeah.
Buddha and Jesus?
Yeah, Golden Young Boys, I think is the name of that show.
I feel like that would actually be semi-interesting.
It's not.
Is it?
It's not.
It's not?
Not like
interesting?
No. Like, is it like kind of like good to drink a beer and watch? Yeah, it's fun.
Is it funny?
It's supposed to be. I don't like, I've watched it like 3 times and it never made like a big impact on me where I got past like 2 episodes.
I see.
It's, I don't know. I'll watch dog shit, man, but like it's so mid that it's just like I get bored and just want to watch something that's actually bad or actually good.
Yeah, you really can't stand 4s through 6s.
No. My eyes glaze over and I don't have anything to look at.
It has to be horrible or great.
Something to look at, dude. There's got to be something. And somehow Shrek falls into all of those categories. Like,
It violently oscillates between a 2 and an 8.
Yeah, it does. And it's fantastic. There's a reason it has truly lived on to be the Shakespeare of our time.
It's not the words I'd use, but
Dude, fuck you. Shrek is like the Romeo and Juliet of the early 2000s. Like, it is going to be the film that is remembered going 500 years into the future. Everyone will remember Shrek.
I mean, to be fair, I do remember a conversation we were having about how Shakespeare isn't necessarily as
Yeah, it's not like high class, but that's what will be Shrek in the future. Shrek will be like, you've got to watch this.
Shrek.
Yeah, you've got to watch this like 100-year-old movie. It's so much like it's got this high class language that they use and this old soulful CG animation. People will make an argument for Shrek being like high class.
It's like, imagine a real serious like Oscar-winning movie that like had a super like
Interstellar
serious plot or something like that. Who's gonna fucking remember that in 100 years versus people remembering Shrek?
Titanic versus Shrek, dude. People are going to remember Shrek. Shrek will make you laugh and make you think. Titanic is just about people fucking in a car that one time.
If you were to ask people in 100 years about Titanic and like then ask them about like the movie, they were just like, yeah, I guess people have like made movies about it.
Yeah, of course.
They would be like, they might even cite one that's more recent.
Oh, yeah. They'll be like, oh, yeah, that thing that they made like 40 years ago. And you're like, no, the one they made in like 1999 that came on 2 VHS tapes.
Jesus.
No, I
don't
I think my grandmother
watch classics like that.
I think my grandmother had one of those. You
was
watch
that
it
before or after black and white?
Is that like the cassette player? You watch that on the cassette
player?
On
like tapes or something?
God damn, that's going to be
like wheels with like black tape on them or something?
That is going to destroy people our age. We're like, because like we have gone through so many different variations of what things were kept on.
Dude, me and my wife had a whole thing looking at the controller for our TV. Because we have a smart TV, right?
Yeah.
There's like a D-pad at the top where we use to cycle through the various options, you know, go to YouTube, go to Netflix, go Hulu,
yeah, of course.
Go Disney Plus, you know, whatever the fuck you want to watch, Prime.
God, that's also going to be a thing.
So, okay.
Was that one of those things that was on streaming and never was physically released?
Hold on. No, that's not the point yet. So, like, we're looking at the controller, right? And I have this realization because near the middle of the controller, there's 2 buttons that each have 2 buttons on them. There's an arrow pointing up and an arrow pointing down on both of these buttons. One controls the volume.
Mm-hmm. Easy.
But then I was like, but if I were to point to the other one on the other side and ask a kid these days what it does, they wouldn't know.
Changing channels, you mean?
Yeah.
The concept of
what do you
channel.
Even mean? It doesn't work on any of the apps we use because we tried it. We started like pressing it randomly on the various things. We're just like, this doesn't do anything.
Ooh, it changes.
Kids are going to be watching YouTube and shit and be like, that button doesn't do anything.
They'll be confused that it doesn't change the YouTube channel. They'll be like, I would assume that it would go to the next thing in the feed, the fast forward.
But there's
button.
already a button for that on the.
I know. But like,
so like, what is this up and down button over here that looks just like the volume? But that's the thing. There's already a different button for it.
I plugged in a fucking antenna for cable TV to the television in our office because my boss wanted us to get one.
You don't. Those are 2 different things.
No, for real.
Antenna and cable are 2 different things. The antenna goes into the slot that the cable goes into.
Sure,
you get cable.
Local television is what it is.
Local broadcast.
Yeah, local broadcast. This shit
like
goes into the back
channels.
of the TV.
Are there still 3 channels
yeah,
on
there's
that?
still 3 channels.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Really?
And it fucking coax cable going into the back of the TV.
Yeah, with a little antenna.
I had that same reaction that you did where I was like, this is the only time you would ever use these buttons. Mm-hmm. So the only times you would ever use the channel button would be to check the 3 channels if you have this optional antenna no one wants.
We used to have that when my mom thought that cable was like bad for us.
Who didn't, dude?
And everybody she was just like, yeah, we're getting rid of cable. We're getting rid of all of your like Radar movies and Rated M video games and like.
It occurs to me that it's called cable because it came in via the cable.
Yes, it was actually a wire.
God,
a thick wire known as a cable.
Yeah, physical God damn.
Analog technology.
The times we lived in regards to a bunch of different ways to experience things is just absurd.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And nowadays, there's even shit like you can emulate the video game. You don't even have to have the video game anymore. You can emulate the game from the 90s on your phone. Like, you can still experience this thing that we had to have both a console and a cartridge for, and batteries, and like all this shit.
If your console was old enough, you had to take these two little forked prongs and unscrew a little screw in the back of your TV, put the fork on the screw, and then screw the screw back down to get the signal to go into it. There was no plug.
Also, you remember needing a flashlight for the original Game Boy because it wasn't backlit?
Yes.
Yeah, like dumb
I had
shit.
that thing that fit over the top of it. That
there
had
was
a
like a
magnifying
light?
glass and a light.
Me too, dude. Yeah, I had that exact same thing.
And it would eat through AA batteries like no one's fucking business.
I bought a thing to go with that supplied more batteries to it, that I could put 6 AA batteries in so that it wouldn't run out of batteries and I could play Pokemon longer.
I absolutely love the Angry Video Game Nerds fucking video on Game Boy accessories because I had like half of these.
Yeah, of course. You had to.
Like,
the thing sucked. It sucks. If it wasn't for Pokemon, no one would have had that fucking thing.
Pokemon.
It sucked shit.
Zelda.
No, you think Zelda on the original Game Boy, not even the Game Boy Color.
Link's Awakening DX.
Link's Awakening DX was a fucking advanced game.
No, it wasn't.
Was it not?
Nope.
What, it was black and white, no backlit.
But
Link's Awakening?
It was made during the time that the Game Boy Color existed. So if you had a Game Boy Color, you could put it in and there was an optional dungeon that had a color-based puzzle.
Ooh, okay.
I know, cool, right?
That is cool, but also I've never seen this game in my life. Is it one of those things that no one like even talks about because it sucked?
No, it was great.
No, I mean like in context, you could play it so many other ways that would be better. There's no reason to play this shitty, like no backlit black and white version of Link's Awakening.
No, I mean just if you wanted. No, it wasn't Link's Awakening. Was it called something else?
I don't know. Link's Awakening was like the very specific game. So
it was a specific to the Game Boy.
A Link to the Past, I guess.
It wasn't A Link to the Past. It had its own name. I feel like it was called Link's Awakening.
Let me see. Game Boy original Zelda game.
It's Link's Awakening DX, I want to say.
It was Link's Awakening. No, you're right. There it is. Link's Awakening.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a side story, like you get shipwrecked. And
I do know what this is.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, actually. They remade it recently.
And I think so.
Yeah, they remade it for the Switch, and it was actually good.
It was good then, too.
It was. It was fine. It was fine.
Like, if you...
It's got nothing on Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, but...
That shit showed me Zelda. I had only...
Really?
Yeah, because remember, I didn't own any Nintendo consoles.
Were you a Seasons
Pokemon
or Ages guy?
You know, I never got far in either. I own both.
Ooh, you owned both, and you didn't get far in either? How'd you own both?
Because, like, I was a teenager, and normal Game Boy games were like $2 a pop at GameStop if you could find a cool
fair,
one.
For sure, yeah.
So I just, anything I knew was good, I picked that shit up.
That's such a weird concept now. You go to the fucking GameStop, and it's full of fucking Funko Pops and shit, but, like, when we were kids, GameStop had, like, a bin. Just had Game Boy games in there, and nobody had any idea what any of them were worth, really.
Yep.
They knew what the original price was, but like once it was fucking secondhand, who knew what people would pay for this shit?
Yeah, I used to go through, pick up like Pokemon games, Final Fantasy games, like anything like that. I knew I could actually get a lot of value out of for a Game Boy game, and specifically because I had the Game Boy SP.
I've been recently
playing the advanced games, and I could play like the regular.
Oh yeah, the flip Game Boy.
Yeah, that thing was fucking badass.
Dude, that was way better than... Because, I mean, there was backlit and everything. There was everything
and
was
it had
better.
A rechargeable battery.
Yeah, everything was better about
That was the perfect Game Boy. I could play the Game Boy, the normal Game Boy Classics on it. I could play any of the advanced games on it. And
it was rechargeable,
if I was anywhere near an outlet, I could play indefinitely.
Yeah.
I've been playing Final Fantasy... Like, good battery life, too. So, like, you know.
I've been playing Final Fantasy VII's Rebirth, not Remake, the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 39 hours in, and I'm only about halfway through the game. I have been just...
that side content?
I've been enjoying myself. For the first time in a long time with a Final Fantasy game. I played Remake. I was not too thrilled. It was okay. But Rebirth it comes out swinging, in my opinion. It does most of the things I wanted. And Kira's like, this isn't Final Fantasy. This isn't what I want. And I'm like, I don't care. It's fun as shit.
So I remember that the plot was trying to do I remember people were talking about how the plot was doing a slight deviation kind of deal.
Not even slightly, dude. We're just talking about like whole other game.
Like where there's like a self-awareness kind of factor.
Yes. Yeah. There's a multiverse in my opinion, I don't know what they're going for. I haven't beaten Rebirth. I don't know what happens at the end of it. I kind of have a vague idea, but like from what I saw in spoilers online and from playing the original, I think what they're going for is it's a sequel, not a remake. It's a sequel where time is cyclical or something, and only Sephiroth has the ability to be self-aware in the cycle. Him and Aerith maybe are the only two that have the awareness that time is a cycle. So it's a sequel, and it's the time is cycling again, and you're doing Final Fantasy again, but like now when Cloud freaks out, Aerith can sometimes be like, oh, you're seeing Sephiroth. I'll grab your hand and make sure you're all right and snap you out of it.
Man, they went through a lot of fucking loops to try and make it to where you could play with Aerith until the end of the game.
Yeah, they did. They sure did.
People really complained hard about that for a good 30 years on them, didn't they?
I'm fine. I don't know. I think Aerith dies at the end of Rebirth. I'm pretty damn sure, to be honest. I'm pretty damn sure she dies.
So
but
you hear that, boys. Don't level her up too hard.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because you're not taking any of the shit from the first one into the second one. You're not like importing your Cloud into Rebirth. No, you start back. Yeah, you start back over. You've got the Buster Sword again, and then they're gonna give you your shit.
Ew.
That's what I thought too. I thought they were going Mass Effect with it, and
I don't like that though.
It's the first game remake is so much different of a game than Rebirth that I see why they did it.
They changed the gameplay?
Yeah, they changed the gameplay for the better. They just made it better. They went
a remake of Final Fantasy VII with 3 completely different games.
I don't know if they're going to go for a third change. They might and just like refine the thing even more. In the first game, I hardly ever had a reason to swap to another party member. You just play as Cloud, you beat the shit out of things. Okay. Sometimes you play Tifa, whatever.
Sure, I guess.
In Rebirth, I'm swapping party members constantly because you have to be playing as them for them to get enough ATB points to be able to cast a spell or something. Like they will build it up by themselves, but they will build it up way faster. If you're just Cloud, use your ATB on using Braver, swap to Tifa, get a few punches in, use some spell on her, swap to Aerith, hit something, cast Cure, swap back to Cloud. You should be just constantly cycling people. So it's this like real-time action remake idea of how lined up action time battle combat for the original would work. And I love it. It's so fun. It's so visceral. And the world is just Elden Ring, which is just such like a cop-out to do, really. It's like some shitty blend between Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring.
Okay.
Where like you're constantly on the horse like you are on Elden Ring. You're constantly on a chocobo. And you always have like access to a chocobo, and there's just shit everywhere for you to pick up while you're going past. But there's barely any like little caves for you to go explore like you would in Elden Ring or anything.
Okay.
It's just a giant field with a bunch of shit like in Breath of the Wild, where you'll come across like a camp of monsters or something. Or a factory, like an old busted down factory. And like I could go explore that, I guess. That's got shit in it.
So like enemies don't like spawn in, they're just on the map?
Yeah, they're just on the map. The worst thing about the entire game, realistically, is the pop-in. Like the game does not load anything fast enough. At all.
Interesting.
Like, it has such an issue loading things that if you're on a mount and you're going forward, sometimes it will stop you in your tracks and just make you repeatedly stutter in place on purpose so that you can't go forward so that the rest of the map can load. And you will just be running past shit and then like I don't even know how to explain it. Like they have the low poly model for objects, but the low poly model doesn't look like the object at all.
I don't understand why people think it's better to have pretty graphics that do shit like that. Than
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
To just
like just some stability.
bring everything down by like 3%
Yes.
and make it all work.
Yeah. Like you'll pass a set of stairs and it doesn't even look like a set of stairs. It looks like 3 floating pieces of metal or like gray. Just 3 polygons of gray, and then it won't even become stairs until you're already able to walk on it.
It's like the original Final Fantasy VII is so fucking old in like terms of like how games look. You don't need to have it at
They harken back
edge
to that constantly too. Like they constantly make reference to the blocky, shitty looking graphics of Final Fantasy VII that are like charming as hell, remade and like beautiful 4K, rendering.
Mm-hmm.
They're cute is what they are. And and I'll say this too, the biggest thing out of the game so far to me is that they did the impossible.
Oh?
They did the absolute impossible.
What is that?
Well, there was a big problem with Final Fantasy VII, the original, that I think they fixed. And what that was they made me like a black guy. I didn't think it would happen. It just seemed like a daunting task to make me like Barrett Wallace. His skin color, I couldn't get past it. Remake and Rebirth, though, he might as well be white. Really, he might as well be white. And his daughter is white, so he's already taken care of the better race.
At some point, we're probably going to have to like psychologically dip into the whole like every time it gets slow, you like pivot drastically back into racism. We should probably address that at some point.
It's living in Mississippi my whole life that's done it to me. That's the only thing around here that's funny. Everything else is not funny at all. Nothing happens.
I mean, generally speaking, I feel like Barrett Wallace is like one of the most beloved characters that isn't like the main character in that series.
No, that's like, Tifa's tits.
Because he says like, yeah, but like the one they weren't gooning to. Like,
speak for yourself.
Well, fair enough. But
we're over time, Eric. It's the end of the show.
Well.
It's the end of the show. The hating black people, that was how I wanted to go out. Just like in real life. No, it's fine. It's we could bring it back to reality for a little bit. Just talk to the audience and let them know that I'm not really racist. I'm just from a very racist place. And picking fun at people hating each other for the color of their skin, that's just how you get your chuckles around here.
Part of the deal is like you make the joke and you laugh at it because the dumbest, funniest thing you could think of is thinking that's important.
Yeah, of course. Of thinking that anybody could ever feel that way. But I go to a family meeting and so many people think that way. That's just the way they operate on a daily basis. My grandfather and his friends threw a trans person out of their ham radio group because they were an it. Quote unquote. Exactly the words that my grandfather used. They threw him out of there because they were an it. They got rid of the it. And I was like, hot damn, imagine being full of just that much hatred for another human being. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they were fucking annoying, as most, and if not all, trans people are. But throw them out of the ham radio group, nobody is in a ham radio group that's under 75.
I'm also thinking, like, who's this person who entered the ham radio group with the other 75-plus-year-olds and thought, you know what riveting conversation I bet these people would love to have? A trans rights conversation.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of like troll behavior to me,
Mississippi.
To be honest.
Yeah, like they were going in there expecting to get thrown out.
Who's the trans ham radio?
I want to meet him. I want to bring him on the show. I want to find out who this person is, bring him on the show, and get them to explain to me why ham radio and trans rights are important factors in their lives.
I'm not even saying this person doesn't exist. I'm saying if they did, they would be self-aware enough to know that other people on the ham radio aren't going to want to have that conversation.
Speaking as a member of the LGBTQ movement, and they're not self-aware. Gay people are not self-aware. That is probably our biggest flaw in reality.
But like the gay lisp.
Yeah, no, it's just not fucking. The people have this idea that being gay is not like going to get you hated when you walk into I don't know, they just have no self-awareness whatsoever.
I mean, I don't think it should, but that doesn't change the fact that weird some people out.
Especially like my 86-year-old ham radio operating grandfather.
Yeah, it's probably not the demographic you want to start with.
He was probably just, he was turned on, and it probably scared him and his buddies, realistically.
That boner's a little too old to be starting anything new.
Damn, you're right. And that's why we're going to talk about our sponsor.
Old floppy boners.
Our sponsor this episode, Blue Chew. It's just,
in case you're too confused looking at that lady boy, take a Blue Chew. You'll
It'll
stop
help.
caring.
You'll help. Yeah. It'll give you
You'll get
immediate.
in there, and a couple strokes in, you'll be like, this is close enough.
You haven't had sex in 20 years. You vaguely remember what it feels like. It's
Pussy,
close enough.
Pussy, you can barely hear the difference anyway. Just take your hearing aids out and call it a day.
Anyways, that's the show, folks. Thank you for listening. I'm Patrick.
I'm Eric.
Bye.
Bye.